Hi everyone, it's Jeff Bullis here. Today we will talk about web accessibility. What is it and why you can't afford to ignore it. I thought I could ignore it, but there's some real issues with ignoring accessibility. Accessibility impacts your ability to sell to persons with disabilities. We use an acronym here called PWDs, but you could even face serious lawsuits, and this is where it gets interesting. You stand to lose big time if your website isn't accessible. This is the American with Disabilities Act. The acronym for that is ADA, which requires websites to be accessible to PWDs, people with disabilities. If non-disabled people can access and navigate your website, so should PWDs, people with disabilities. If you're leaving things to chance, hoping you won't encounter any ADA-related issues, think again. ADA litigations have surged by over 300% from 2013 to 2019, with a top record of over 11,000 cases last year. If you can pay up to $75,000 for your first offence, $150,000 for the next, and $50,000 for settlement, then good on you. The problem is, manually remediating an accessible website is expensive and inefficient. It costs tens of thousands of dollars and can take around 6 to 10 months to be completed. That was the old way. Wouldn't it be great if there was a tool that could make your website ADA compliant immediately without the hassle and headaches and avoid all that financial litigation? Well, there is. It's called Accessibility, and it's the perfect answer to your prayers. I have here with me Eli Friedman, who is a Senior Partnership Success Manager at Accessibility. In the next few minutes, he will show you what the tool does and how easy it is to install and use. We've been using it for quite a few months, and it's such an easy tool to use. Oh, and make sure to stay until the end for an exclusive offer available only to people on this webinar. So, it's a really cool tool, and Eli, take it away.
Thanks so much, Jeff. Really appreciate it. And of course, having me present for all of you lovely people here today. So my name is Eli, and I'm the Senior Partner Success Manager at Accessibility, as Jeff mentioned, and I'll be leading the second part of the webinar today. I hope to give you some valuable insights into why Accessibility is a no-brainer solution, in addition to a live demo. That way you can see the power of Accessibility's seamless AI solution. So who is Accessibility? Firstly, in case you don't know who we are, we're the world's first and #1 AI accessibility solution that makes any website accessible for people with disabilities under all worldwide legislations, including the ADA. So our goal is to provide equal access to everyone while mitigating our customers' risks of ADA lawsuits. And since more than 20% of the world's population lives with some form of disability, Accessibility also enables significant market reach. So we currently protect over 60,000 clients and counting every day. We serve over 100 Fortune 1000 companies, by providing the peace of mind of web accessibility and ADA compliance with a simple, effortless, and affordable solution. To truly understand Accessibility's value, it's really important to distinguish between the different solutions that are out in the marketplace. So when it comes to web accessibility and ADA compliance, the competitive landscape varies to 3 different types of solutions. The first one is manual remediation, and this is the process of manually adding and adjusting a website's code according to web accessibility guidelines. All of the web accessibility requirements, which range from design and UI adjustments to screen reader optimization and keyboard navigation, need to be meticulously adhered to throughout the entire code. The cost alone is not so practical for most websites. So for websites under 1,000 pages, for instance, the cost is $15,000 US per year. On average. This doesn't include maintenance, which means ensuring ongoing accessibility no matter what you change or add to the website. Maintenance costs will vary from website to website, but each time a product, picture, article are added to the site, those too need to be remediated, which is inevitably the retainer cost unless you choose to do it yourself. Time is another valuable resource that most websites can't afford to lose. Manual remediation can take several months, and that doesn't include ongoing maintenance, since remediation is really never an ending job. So for websites who want to keep up with the speed of digital commerce, sales, and consumer demand, manual accessibility becomes a huge obstacle. So to summarize, while manual remediation has been the bedrock of web accessibility in the world today, It does not reflect the needs of business owners who need agile and autonomous solutions to streamline their work processes and at an affordable price. This is the precise reason why we created Accessibility. Free widgets, so web accessibility is complex and rightfully so. The precision and expertise required to achieve full compliance cannot be met halfway. It's either all or nothing. So that's why we like to keep it simple, but it cannot be too simple, and that's what we usually find with these free or low-cost widgets. They really only handle the CSS or design adjustments, but these only cover up to 25% of the WCAG requirements. And as mentioned before, it's all or nothing. It would be unfortunate to be only 25% compliant because you would be vulnerable to an ADA lawsuit. These options do not provide alt tags for images or adapt to screen readers at all, which have been the source of the majority of lawsuits and naturally the most complex parts of web accessibility. We also know that there are certain laws that law firms that are aware of these widgets not making websites accessible and purposely targeting them as they are now low-hanging fruit for settlements. So at the end of the day, these solutions might seemingly be helping people with disabilities and avoiding the law, but as you can see, these are the biggest danger and do not help the disabled community. That's where Accessibility comes in, and Accessibility was created to make web accessibility really a no-brainer. So by understanding that the only way to make the web accessible to people with disabilities is by creating a simple, affordable, and a reliable solution that eliminates any hesitance whatsoever. Time and money are now two valuable resources that most companies really can't afford to waste, of course. Now with Accessibility makes the choice an easy and an accessible one. So Accessibility is a fully automated and AI-powered from audit to ongoing maintenance. It includes CSS adjustments for low visual impairments, epilepsy, color blindness, cognitive and learning disabilities. It also includes the back-end AI solution that automates the entire process, all by implementing one single line of code. This part achieves the remaining 75% of the accessibility requirements that the free alternatives leave out. So those are assistive technology optimization, so that means screen readers and keyboard navigation adjustments, ARIA attributes and screen reader text, assignment of elemental structural roles using our contextual understanding AI, and we also provide alt tags for images using image recognition technology. Really, it's to jam-pack ADA compliance, web accessibility, and Accessibility into one webinar. Does seem like a lot, but it doesn't have to be with our simple process to make all of this work. So what does the installation look like? Wonderfully simple, actually. So the first thing you do is install our one single line of JavaScript code. This literally takes 5 minutes or less. It can also integrate within any CMS website and custom website as well. Secondly, your website will instantly display our accessibility interface. Third, simultaneously, our AI will kick in. So within 48 hours of installing that one line of code, it's finished, the website's accessible, it's compliant. This is also when you receive the accessibility statement to your email. What makes Accessibility even more of a no-brainer, it's that it eliminates the need for manual maintenance. So our AI will rescan the website every 24 hours, ensuring that if there's any changes or additions that are being made, they too are also being remediated as they go along without skipping a beat. So ultimately what I'm coming at here is after the 5-minute installation, you really forget about compliance issues. Everything else is done automatically, even for websites that update daily. I'd like to also lastly point out before moving on to the live presentation of Accessibility, that an accessibility statement is provided to every client, and it is received 48 hours from installation and acts as a certification of compliance and ongoing efforts when it comes to web accessibility. This is, you should know, is a requirement and kept for your records to show what Accessibility has done to the website, the browser, and assistive technology compatibility. So let's move on to the live demo really quickly. We're here at demo.accessibility.com, and anybody's, of course, welcome to come. It's an actually public-facing website, demo.accessibility.com. And let's start with the user interface, which is this little guy down here. This right here is the foreground application that deals with CSS adjustments for epileptic users, color blindness, low visual impairments, and cognitive and learning disabilities. So this really replaces the old-fashioned method of compromising the website's design in favor of accessibility. These profiles enable users with disabilities to significantly adjust the entire website to their specific disability. All profiles have been defined alongside people with disabilities and, of course, in adherence to the WCAG. For example, enabling the Epilepsy Safe profile immediately stops all moving objects and tunes down potential dangerous colors, which I'll show you. So if you can see, for instance, this flashing GIF right here, there's a moving slider here, there's a quick demo video here, and there's also a little video down here. So by pressing the Seizure Safe profile, it automatically stops everything, including the GIF over here as well, which is a big feat. Now, the other profile that I want to show you is the visually impaired profile. And enabling it scales the content by 100% and also increases the website saturation, which makes it easier for the user to see and navigate more effectively, right? So it increased the saturation there, and that really just helps with an easier and more enriching experience when it comes to experiencing the website. So the last two profiles that I want to show you are the cognitive disability profile and ADHD profile. Both of these will assist users to focus on the more essential elements, therefore helping them to comprehend your content better. The cognitive profile slightly scales the content, highlights, and titles, as you can see here and here. Now, before getting into the last profiles, I want to briefly touch on enhancement features. In addition to profiles functionality, okay, you have adjustments like increase of content scaling. You also have, you see here, these spikes might actually look unreadable or even smudged to somebody with low visual impairments. So by pressing the readable font button, this actually reverts back to the user's default font, and this is now more readable to the user. Again, you also have the highlight of titles and links. You have font sizing, line height, letter spacing, text magnification, and alignment as well, if in case you're on mobile or on desktop and you'd like to use that as well. So for color blindness, excuse me, and other low visual impairments, so you have this area over here which has some presettings and then individual settings, so that way the user can adjust specific to their disability. So you have things like monochrome, light contrast, dark contrast, high saturation, high contrast, and low saturation. You also have the ability to change the text colors, title colors, and background colors, again, to specifically suit their disability. Now let me go ahead and reset this over here for a quick second so that I can show you the rest of the profile. One big thing is the simulation, okay, of somebody who is blind that is coming into a website utilizing their screen reader only, and they would also navigate with the keyboard with the universal key for keyboard navigation, which is the tab key. So the first thing that one will do when they come into a website with a screen reader, they will press the tab key, as I'm doing now. The user will be invited to turn on accessibility mode by pressing Alt+1, which I am doing now. There is a chime that goes off to tell the user that it's been successfully turned on, and now the user can start navigating through the website. So you can see I press tab. It allows you to skip to content within the page. It also allows you to navigate through the entire website through our quick navigation, which is a sort of UI enhanced sitemap. That way they can do what they need to do and leave. Or if they wanted to continue navigating through the website, they can press the navigation or the tab key. So you can see here, as I press through, it's touching upon links, form fields. It even collapses collapsible menus. This is something that many are notorious at missing out on, and essentially where a lot of the litigation stems from, okay? Something as simple as collapsible menus. You can also see that I can easily navigate through the slider here. I can also easily prompt pop-ups. So you can see that the focus lifted up from the bottom screen up into the pop-up panel itself. This right here is another notorious loss for people who aren't emphasizing on those changes. What will happen in this instance is If you're not able to opt out by pressing escape, the user will have an endless loop in the background, and many of the times, if not most of the time, they will actually need to turn off their computer and turn it back on in order to go ahead and access the web again. It's impossible with any keyboard shortcut to get out of those pop-up panels. So as you can see, I can increase quantities here, decrease quantities, proceed to checkout, or press escape. The focus landed back on the original element that it was on prior to prompting the pop-up. As you can see, I can navigate, and it's touching upon every element and, of course, content in the correct navigation orientation, which is left to right, top to bottom. Okay, so now all of these things are all done on the fly in accordance with the WCAG guidelines. Now, I'd like to also point out the last part, which is our AI. This is really where the magic happens. So let me go ahead and turn off accessibility mode. I'd like to show everybody this picture over here. You can see that there's something clearly going on in the screen, and there's text embedded within this image here. But if I take a right click and I inspect this image, you can see in my console that there's no alt tag for this image. Now, if I turn on accessibility mode, press Alt+1, you can see that the dynamic changes are happening all on the fly here. And when I press inspect, our OCR and iris, which is our image recognition technology, is deciphering this by referencing tens of millions of data sets and then assigning the correct alt tag for this specific image. That way the screen reader will be able to decipher and, of course, read out what's found in that image. Okay, so you can see here, alt is extra 30% off, shop now, woman in long sleeve shirt folding clothes. And the ARIA attribute that's been assigned to it is a product. This new product page will be prompted. Okay, I want to show you another few elements over here just to show you that it's not a one-trick pony. So you can see this Facebook logo does not actually have, or this link, excuse me, does not have the correct screen reader text assigned to it. Nor does this Google Plus icon. I like to show this one as well. So this one is, of course, shopping cart, but PE7S cart does not really give it any context whatsoever. That is not going to be read aloud to the screen reader, and it's definitely not going to be helpful for the user. So this bench logo over here, the same thing goes. There's no alt tag for this image. This one right here, you can see that there is overlapping scriptive language. It's kind of an abstract illustration. And when I look in to inspect the image, there's no alt tag for this image either. I love to show this one as well because it shows another level of intelligence of our solution. So these list items are correctly placed. However, it doesn't give any context to the user using a screen reader. So 4 to 5 star rating here, but to be read aloud, icon star PE7S star full 5 times is definitely not enriching. Now, let me turn on accessibility mode and let's go over those elements. So you can see here Facebook. Facebook now is going to be assigned to Facebook, and then it's going to prompt a new window when they press that. You can see the Google Plus icon is now Google, now new window is going to be prompted. The same thing goes with Instagram new window. This right here was some weird name before, but now it's actual shopping cart. So this is assigning the correct name for that link. We did bench before. Now you saw that there was no alt tag before, but now again, referencing all those data sets, you see that this is a bench logo. We showed you this image here, which had the overlapping scriptive language, and now it's Sale Black Friday, illustrative banner, and that it's going to prompt a new product page once you press on that image. These 4 to 5 star rating. So again, this was not the correct screen reader text, but now it's been assigned with the correct context, which is 4 to 5 star rating, which now again enriches the experience, enticing a sale, and just overall, just bettering everything. So I'd like to also point out, since we're nearing at the end of the live demo, that this process happens all on the fly and for all elements, not just images. So if you'd like to see how Accessibility changes the code or adds other accessibility behaviors like ARIA attributes or elements. I hope you enjoyed the live demonstration, and that leaves us with the most crucial benefits of having a web accessibility solution in place. So I'd like to go over this because a lot of people don't know how important it is to have a web accessibility solution. Yes, ADA is the elephant. However, you do need to ensure that you know about these points. And now, especially with the holiday season upon us, not mentioning COVID-19 spotlight on the necessity of digital commerce, more people are shopping online more than ever before. So it's important to summarize and understand the importance of making every website accessible. So doing the right thing, it cultivates a genuinely inclusive culture. Not to mention it also is a brand booster and increases awareness of accessibility and the issues facing the disabled community. The mitigation of risk, so making sure your website also is accessible, helps you avoid litigation and the average 5-figure series settlements. You need to expand your market reach. It's now, again, more important than ever. So the CDC reports that 26% of Americans have a disability. That is 61 million Americans and counting. They have an annual spending power of $200 billion. Not to mention, in the world, there are 1.3 to 1.5 billion people within the disabled community, and they have an $8 trillion spending power per year. This is a force definitely to be reckoned with. So fully automated solutions like Accessibility provides complete compliance using artificial intelligence, drastically reducing cost and time, and providing ongoing maintenance all automatically. This way you can focus on what you do best while avoiding lawsuits and expanding your business for all. So thank you very much for everyone for joining us today to learn more about the importance of accessibility and the wonderfully simple process of becoming web accessible and ADA compliant. A really special thanks to you, Jeff. Really appreciate you having here. I can't urge that enough. It's really a huge honor for myself personally, and of course us as a company. So I'd like to say that we truly appreciate you. Now, I'm sure that many of you are asking yourself, is my website compliant or not? So Accessibility has developed an extremely powerful tool called ACE, which is an accessibility auditing tool. So ACE allows you to check your website's level of accessibility in literally seconds. I'll ask Jeff to send you a link with ACE in the email with a special offer that he's offering to, of course, all of the attendees today. So that way you can go ahead and check out your website's level of accessibility. So further to that, Jeff will email with that special offer, which is a very special 20% discount for all website owners. And if you're an agency, you're also welcome to reach out to us directly to discuss our partnership program, which is, Jeff, you tell him. And again, thanks so much for joining us today. We truly appreciate it and looking forward to making the web accessible for all.
Yeah, thank you everyone for turning up today. And if there's just 2 lessons from this, we could have gone into the technical side a lot more deeply. But in reality, number 1, you can avoid a lawsuit, which the American Disabilities Act is pretty onerous. Number 2, you make your website accessible for everyone, and I think that's pretty cool. That's what I love about it especially, is that the web's for everyone, and accessibility makes it click and play. And look, you can go and do an audit, which could test you out, but I can almost guarantee you're not going to comply. So just go and get Accessibility, because we've been using it for months, and it's a fantastic tool, easy to use, and going to save you a ton of money, and it's going to drive a lot more traffic. That's it, really. It's not complex.
Mm-hmm.